Hi there, boys and girls. Welcome to today's interactive read aloud. Today we're going to be reading a book called A Visitor for Bear. And this is the first book of our new text set. Text set 5 is called The Importance of Friendship. So friendship will be the theme of the books that we'll be reading in the next few days. You may also notice something very shiny on the front cover. This book won an award. It won the E.B. White Read Along Award. And that means that it won an award because it's a good book to read out loud. So it's a good family book for families to read out loud. And if you look carefully, you can see a spider's web, and a pig. And some of you may be familiar with the story or the movie Charlotte's Web. And E.B. White is the author of Charlotte's Web, and that's who this award was named after because that is such a good read aloud book. Well, today our author is Bonnie Becker, and our illustrator is Katie McDonald Denton. A Visitor for Bear. Who do you think the visitor might be? Little mouse here. A Visitor for Bear. A Visitor for Bear by Bonnie Becker, illustrated by Katie McDonald Denton. No one ever came to Bear's house. It had always been that way, and Bear was quite sure he didn't like visitors. He even had a sign. What's the sign say? No visitors allowed. What would you think about a person who lives in a house that says no visitors allowed? Would you go knock on their door? One morning, Bear heard a tap, tap, tapping on his front door. When he opened his door, there was a mouse, small and gray and bright-eyed. No visitors allowed, Bear said, pointing to the sign. Go away. He closed the door and went back to the business of making his breakfast. Wow, boys and girls, do you think that was very nice? He set out 1 cup and 1 spoon. But when he opened the cupboard to get 1 bowl, there was the mouse, small and gray and bright-eyed. Where's the mouse, boys and girls? He's in the bowl in the cupboard. Mouse looks pretty surprised. I told you to leave, cried the bear. Perhaps we could have just a spot of tea, asked the mouse. Out, commanded Bear. Most sorry, said the mouse. I'll be going now. Bear showed him to the door and shut it firmly. Then he went back to the business of making his breakfast. But when he opened the bread drawer for 1 slice of bread, There was the mouse, small and gray and bright-eyed. Boys and girls, what do you think is going to happen next? Unbelievable, rumbled Bear. Away with you. Vamoose. I do like a bit of cheese, said the mouse. Bear pointed a rigid claw toward the door. Yes, then, here I go, said the mouse. Farewell. And the mouse whisked out the door. This time, Bear shut the door very firmly and locked it tight. Bear is looking annoyed, isn't he, boys and girls? His brows are furrowed. He's working hard to make sure the mouse does not get in. He locked the windows too, for good measure. Then, once again, he went back to the business of making his breakfast. But when he opened the fridge to get one egg, there was the mouse, small and gray and bright-eyed, of course. "Begone!" roared Bear. Boys and girls, notice how big the words "begone" are. And it has an exclamation point, so it tells us that he yelled it loud. And look at the picture. Oh my goodness, look at his mouth. "A crackling fire?" ventured the mouse. "This is impossible, intolerable, insufferable," cried the bear, shaking with anger and disbelief. "Terribly sorry," murmured the mouse. "Now you see me, now you don't. I am gone." And the mouse looked very sorry indeed while he waited for Bear to unbolt the door and let him out again. Look at his face, little mouse's face. He does look sorry. Bear still looks frustrated and mad. Boys and girls, why is Bear so upset at the mouse? Yeah, he does not want him in his house, does he? This time, before he went back to the business of making his breakfast, Bear shut the door very, very, very firmly, locked it, boarded the windows shut, stopped up the chimney, and even plugged the drain in the bathtub. What do you think's gonna happen? Cheerfully, Bear set about the business of making his breakfast. He opened the cupboard, no mouse. He opened the bread drawer, nothing. Woo! He opened the fridge, mouse free. Yes, indeed. He lifted the lid to the tea kettle. There was the mouse, small and gray and well, you know the rest. Bear fell to the ground and wept. "I give up," he blubbered. "You win. I am undone." Bear has been trying really hard to keep the mouse away, but now he's kind of given up on it. "So sorry," said the mouse, "but perhaps if I could have just a bit of cheese and a cup of tea, And do you think we could unstopper the chimney and have a nice fire? Bear blew his nose with a loud honk. But then you must go, he sniffled. No visitors allowed. You have my word, says the mouse. Have you ever blown your nose and it sounded like a honk? It's kind of funny. Bear unshuttered and unboarded the windows, unlocked the door, unstoppered the chimney, and unplugged the drain. He brought out 2 plates of cheese and 2 teacups, and he made a crackling fire in the fireplace for 2 sets of toes. The mouse warmed his feet and nibbled and sipped, and Bear did too. They sat for a long while. The clock in Bear's house ticked loudly. So boys and girls, if you can hear the ticking of a clock, do you think it's very quiet or very loud? The room must be very quiet to hear the ticking of a clock. Bear cleared his throat. The mouse looked most attentive. No one had ever been most attentive to Bear. The fire is nice, the bear announced. Lovely, said the mouse. No one had ever said Bear's fires were lovely. I can do a headstand, said Bear. Very impressive, exclaimed the mouse. Bear told a joke. The mouse laughed heartily. No one had ever laughed at Bear's jokes before. Bear began to think of another joke. The mouse set down his teacup. Bear quickly lifted the teapot. There's plenty more, he said. Boys and girls, how are Bear and the mouse acting? Are they talking? Are they having a good time? Do you think they're acting like friends? It's an interesting thought, isn't it? Since Bear did not want the mouse in his house. So sorry, said the mouse. Most kind, but I must be on my way. Really, you needn't go, said Bear. I am off, said the mouse, springing up from his chair. Wait, cried Bear. But the mouse stepped out the door. Toodaloo, said the mouse. Can you say toodaloo? Tell someone bye by saying toodaloo. Don't go, wailed Bear, throwing his body across the path. But I gave you my word, said the mouse, pointing at the no visitors sign. Is that true? Did he tell the bear he would leave? He sure did. He's keeping his side of the bargain. Oh, that, cried Bear, pulling down the sign and tearing it up. That's for salesmen, not for friends. Wow, boys and girls. Not for friends? Asked the mouse, small and gray and bright-eyed. Bear nodded. The mouse's bright eyes glowed brighter. Bear smiled. What do you think Bear is going to do next, boys and girls? Were you right? He invited him back inside. Do you like 1 lump or 2? Said Bear most politely. I like 2, said the mouse, and Bear agreed. So you may not know what that means when he says, do you like 1 lump or 2? But that means, would you like 1 lump of sugar or 2 lumps of sugar? And you can buy sugar in cubes, and they call the cubes lumps. So he likes 2 lumps of sugar. Boys and girls, this is a very important story about friendship. At the beginning of the story, did Bear have any friends? He didn't. He did not have any friends at all. And he had the sign keeping people away. No visitors. But the mouse, he changed the bear's mind about visitors and friends. In the story, the mouse is very determined to make the bear his friend. And he is very persistent. Even though he is not invited, he keeps showing up. And he's not showing up in a bad way because he's not being mean, but he's being kind. And he really just wants to be a friend to the bear. And once the bear opens his heart to becoming friends with the mouse, he really enjoys their friendship, doesn't he? And he doesn't even want him to leave. He wants him to stay. At the end of the story, Bear does something very important to the sign that has been holding his friendships back. What did he do? He tore up the no visitors sign. Very good. Well, I hope you enjoyed this read aloud and that you can understand why it won an award. And I hope that you can do something fun with a friend or talk to a friend sometime soon. Have a great day.